Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I am here, Mike. Garrett is over there.
Howdy.
Amy in the middle. How are you, Amy?
Yes. Hello, I'm good. I am great.
You look fantastic. I figured that all three of us, Garrett, you look fine too. I figured all three of us were going to look like absolute shit because my guess is we were up rather late.
We were. I have to tell you, I got my lashes done today and I got my hair done today. So that is the only reason that I look somewhat presentable. But yes, very tired.
No, you guys look great. You guys look rested. I love the sweatshirt.
Yes, Patriot. Thank you.
You know,
what time did you stay up till?
I was up till last time I looked at the clock was 2:30, but I feel like I was up for another half hour or so, laying in bed, with the TV on, but which would have been 4:30, 5 o'clock your time. So I'm 2 hours behind you guys.
Yep.
Now that the time change happened, I was 3 hours. Now I'm 2 hours. So it was 4:30, 5 o'clock, relatively speaking. By the time I shut it down, and then I took Marshy to school at 8:30.
Nice.
Oh boy!
And it was great. I love it. I've been recording these videos of he and I driving to school. And I've thought about throwing him in the members area, but I'm like, he explains what abortion is to me, and he's just like an absolute fucking retard, just mimicking dumb shit his mom says. It's so funny, like he was telling me, I was like, Marshall, do you even know what abortion is? And he's like, yeah. I was like, well, explain it to me. And he's like, it's when you have a baby and then you decide you don't want it, and then they find it a good home. And I was like, oh, yeah.
What?
Well, I stand corrected. You clearly know what abortion is.
They both end in shin. Adoption, abortion.
And start with A.
Yeah, close.
He's got the middle letters confused.
That's all. He had a different definition today for what abortion was, and that was when a mom is very, very sick because of this thing inside her. And up until the day of birth, you eliminate it, and then it doesn't exist in the world. I was like, well, you're getting closer.
That is closer.
It's better than whatever you said about giving it up, finding it a good home. One. and I never put two and two together that maybe he's talking about adoption.
Yeah.
But no, he's pretty clear. And the reason this came up, I'm not trying to indoctrinate a toddler with abortion stuff. There's just so many signs on the way to work or on the way to school for him that are like, they're all like prop vote things, like vote no on Prop 139 or vote yes on 139. And apparently 139 is really big around here for abortion in Arizona. So I think there was a couple on the ballot, and nobody wants to admit it. I noticed this, but it went exactly like it was supposed to. Like they constitutionalized abortion on some level in Arizona last night. It was like, oh, you mean kicking it to the states and letting the people vote? Had the outcome.
That?
Wow. Crazy. So I don't know what the new weaponization of that is going to be, because they did exactly that. It was like, it's no surprise to me that it was, that people have reasonable levels of what they think abortion should be. And I don't know what it finalized on, 20 weeks, 16 weeks in Arizona. I think it did in other places too. But that weapon kind of goes away a little bit. It's like, yeah, it's constitutionalized. There's no federal ban that was coming, ghoulish thing that was coming to,
right.
You can still give, coupons for free abortions at Christmas. You're fine. You'll be able to do that here in Arizona. It's okay. But that, it's so,
it's Michigan's marketing strategy, literally.
It's
the marketing strategy. So
I was talking to G last night, and, a couple things, because he was like, dude, this is over. He was calling it over at like 7 o'clock last night. He's like, this is, and I was like, I don't trust these fuckers. I don't trust these. Like, I don't know. So I'm sure you guys were sitting on pins and needles. Like, where are you waiting for the magic?
Is that old George Bush quote? Fool me once.
Yeah.
Shame on you. Fool me twice. Won't get fooled again.
Yeah.
That was me last night.
It was, I think we were all hypersensitive to it, but he was like, you know what, man, And I don't know if you guys got it as much as we did here in Arizona, but we're both kind of in battleground spots right now. But the commercial that still cracks me up every time I see it is that the clownish 6 foot, what looks like a 6'4" lipstick mustachioed man as a trans dude, in his picture, like she's for they them and he's for, like, dude. That guy is so cartoonish looking and fucking scary. He looks like an It character from a King novel. Like it's just creepy and weird. And that stuck. And it reminds me of the Tudor Dixon one from 4 years ago, where like no on abortion ever. Yeah. And she's like, nope. It's like for incest and rape. And it was like, nope. Yep. That clip from that radio interview, just like Michigan was like, Uh-huh. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny which ones land and stick. And, so I was asking G, I'm like, do you know who Tudor Dixon is? And he's like, I feel like I've heard the name. I'm like, oh yeah, people in Michigan, here's someone who didn't win and everybody in Michigan knows because that commercial was played round the clock at the time.
Yeah.
So, so what was your guys' night last night? Because you guys were, it was still kind of early for me when it was kind of over, but I couldn't help myself. I was texting with you, Amy. I was texting with Dan Vogt, just like, how are we doing?
It was awesome. Yeah. I mean, the mood was just like, you could tell because everybody on the left was nervous. And I was like, I don't know. Just kind of feel good. I got a good vibe going on. And, just seeing some of the early results coming in, it was quite clear that, what was going to happen. And I'm just so freaking happy. I'm so happy that like,
I'm relieved. I'm more relieved than even happy.
Yeah.
Like, honestly,
me too.
I was very, very scared. I think that a lot of people didn't fully understand. Like, people were so in their corner, like winning, and the fight was, in my opinion, wasn't what people were led to believe it was.
Right.
And it was very scary for the potential of where that was going to go. Like some of the things that leadership was saying was very scary for this country. And I don't think we're any different than anywhere else historically in the world. We're not, it's not impossible that, empires fall, great nations fall. And I don't think that's something that can't happen to us. And not to be overly dramatic about it, but I think we were creeping towards something that was going to be really hard to turn around from.
Yes.
That was my fear. So there's more relief than anything.
Yeah. Boy, I gotta tell you, the popular vote on top was, that was just like a cherry on top, wasn't it? Yeah. Because that's what you've heard forever and a day is that he can't win no Republican can win a popular vote. That's why we must abolish the Electoral College, because without that, Republicans would never win another election. And surprise, motherfuckers.
Yeah, that was big. And I'm glad you said that, because I don't think you can underestimate that, because that was being so weaponized. I heard some fucking dipshit on MSNBC a minute ago saying like, well, we got to acknowledge, the popular vote, because I believe in democracy. I believe that, the will of the people, democracy. It's like, dude, do you have no concept of what the republic means and why a democracy is so scary? And it's meant, dumb shit, to protect the little guy. It's meant.
And look at a map. Look at a map. Look at a map.
Yeah.
And it's red and blue glory. And tell me that the flyover states don't have something to say. Like, you cannot just ignore them as much as they want to. I mean, they desperately want to.
And just saying flyover states is so a dig.
Rude.
It's just so rude. It's insulting.
Yeah.
It really is. It's kind of an elitist, snobbish, flyover states. We're on our way from somewhere important to somewhere else important. Yeah. And these are the flyover states. This is why we have to sit in this capsule for 4 hours, is to get from the good place to another good place. And this garbage dump, this MAGA is in the way. Yep. That's what that means. And when you're talking about democracy, like, oh, the popular vote, it's like, well, the forefathers thought of that too. And we can have a discussion about the popular vote, because the game would be played much differently if that was what the goal was. You would put New York conservatives in play. You would put California conservatives in play. California spoke pretty fucking loudly last night, by the way. Last count I saw, 3.5 million votes for Donald Trump. So don't just automatically assume that a popular vote would necessarily go your way. But the reason that it's done like that is because we're not a democracy. And it's intended not to be a democracy for a reason, so that the big bully popular vote, whatever the flavor of the day is, wins out. And you go, I don't even know what that would look like. Well, if the popular vote decided 51% of the country just decided that abortion's illegal, or that you can't drink anymore, or you can't, or you know what? Why don't we try it again with slavery? How about 51% of the people just decide we want slavery, or women can't vote?
Right.
Or, whatever. And you go, no, there's fucking guardrails for that, so that you just can't have mob rule.
Right.
So it's just talk like that that's dangerous. Now, if you want to have an open discussion about, popular vote, is that a better way to do it? You can make arguments for that, but I don't, this idea, I've made the analogy a million times. You win the World Series game 115-0. Then the next team wins the next 4 games 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, etc. Who won the World Series? Well, we scored way more runs. We scored 4 times as many runs as they did.
Right.
Okay, well, that wasn't the game, fucker. It's not about who scored the most runs. So that argument didn't matter, but it's nice. It's very nice to be able to go, all right, now what? Now what? Because this behavior that you've displayed for the last 9 years led to the Senate, the House, the presidency, and the fucking popular vote.
Yeah.
How's that
so
feel?
Awesome.
How's that feel? That's that, and it's not because of white women like Joy Reid wants you to believe. That's not why. Sorry, white women apparently hate other women. Really? That's your takeaway?
Sure most white women were most Kamala supporters.
Yeah,
I don't know. It doesn't matter, because the people like us don't tend to put all people into a group. It's just that simple. It's offensive. The women in my life are independent thinking people that think about myriad things, and like I can't just go like, oh yeah, all women I know think this way. Like, that's absurd. I'd be offended if someone was like, oh, all white men think this, because
I gotta tell, it is so offensive for someone to tell you that you're voting against your own best interests. Yeah. I can't tell you how many times some people told me that. What's it like to vote against your own best interests? How do you know what my fucking best interests are? And why do you just assume that it's abortion?
Right.
Why do you assume that?
Right.
Like, it's weird. It's like really weird.
Yeah. Well, again, we talked about it yesterday. When you have nothing else to brag about or a vision for the future, Obama laid this out clearly in 2008 in his DNC speech. When you have nothing, all you can do is tear down the other side, which is exactly what you saw go on. Like, fearmonger, oh my God, they're going to take all women's reproductive rights away. Like, okay, literally no one's doing that, but okay, whatever.
Nobody still, I have yet to find somebody who's been able to tell me what rights I don't have. I'm waiting, and no one's been able to tell me.
I'm in the same line for gay people.
Yeah.
What rights do I not have right now?
They hate that. They hate that when you bring that up. Because it's a tough one, because, and it should be insulting to people too, because there were people that didn't have full rights.
Yeah.
And, women didn't always have the right to vote, and lots of groups didn't always have the right to vote.
Well, if you ask Sunny Hostin on The View, her daughter, who attends Harvard, has less civil rights today.
Yeah. Right.
Than her grandpa.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Did you ask her to elaborate? Did anyone ask her to please, the floor is yours, Sonny. Please elaborate.
No, of course, because it's true, Mike. It's true.
Right. Isn't that funny how it's just taken as fact? And well, that's the end of that debate.
Like, you are a rich, famous person. Your kids attend Ivy League schools. You live in a liberal area where you can get an abortion until the day after you give birth. Like you have all the rights.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, should we go? I thought this video that was going around was really funny. I pulled a bunch of videos. Some of them, I was hoping for more liberal tears. We'll get into some of those, the meltdowns. And I kind of feel bad for a lot of these people because at the end of the day, they were just really misled about what was going on. And, that's really unfair to do to people in some cases, in my opinion. It's more of a knock on the media, in my opinion, than anything. But I love CNN, Jake Tapper and Pamela Brown figuring out the Pennsylvania math for themselves. I don't know if you've seen this, Amy, but it's just great because they can't call it. I know,
Mike, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. What is this? Someone's going to have to explain to me what are you clinging to where it's like, it's just comical. Do you have it there, Garrett?
Yeah, I got it right here.
Oh, good. There you go. Pamela, what do you got for us in Georgia?
This is important information in Georgia. I'm getting from Gabriel Sterling, the top election official there. The margin right now in Georgia is 118,000 votes, right? 100,000 votes are outstanding right now. This is what I'm being told from Gabriel Sterling. Now, he says the split will go marginally for Harris. So let's break down what we know about where some of that outstanding vote is. Chatham,
so far so good.
40,000 outstanding, I'm told. This is a county that went to Biden in 2020. Carroll, outstanding, 18,000. This is a county that went to Trump in 2020. And then you have the blue counties of DeKalb and Fulton. DeKalb has 3,000 outstanding ballots.
So you're saying
Fulton
there's a chance.
has 2,000 outstanding ballots. Again, just to recap, tight margin, 118,000, 100,000 votes still out in Georgia. And Gabriel Sterling says it's the split coming from that will be marginally, his prediction is for Harris. But this is what the data coming in is showing right now.
Awesome.
Back to you.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not for sure 100,000.
You say a total? The total outstanding votes is 100,000?
Total?
He said 100,000 votes out. Yep.
Well,
And so I just gave you a little snapshot of where some of those places are. Chatham, Carroll, I asked, when are we going to find out these results from these counties? He did not have a timeline exactly for that, but hopefully soon.
But the significance, obviously, that Donald Trump right now has a margin of 118,838 votes, and you're saying there's 100,000 left.
If he's being literal, sometimes 100,000, they're getting calls from counties and
sure
they
he's
say
not
20,000, it's really 22.
Literal. It could be 100,000
It could
in
be
one.
33.
John,
But if he's
can I just jump in?
Yes, please.
Actually, we asked about how do you know these numbers, and actually by law they have to have it.
Literally.
The actual numbers. So,
By law, literally.
I understand
Quite
your point,
literally,
but I think they do have more precise numbers based on what the law requires.
But no
So
law.
then that
literally.
math sends a shockwave through
But
the
it's
Harris
the law.
campaign.
Yeah.
If that is literal,
It's
even
literal.
if she won them all, if there's 100,000 left, and she won them all, and she won't, he's 118,000
She
votes
said
ahead.
marginally,
Marginally,
for Harris,
literally.
which means probably like 53,
she
47 or
can't catch
something
up.
along those
Come on.
lines. Interesting. We'll have the decision desk talk to the people in
Does
Georgia.
anyone
Can I
have
go
a
back?
calculator
Talk
on
to
them?
the people. Talk to the people.
Yeah.
What do we do? Just don't change the map because we're going to lose viewers if we change the map. So do we get that right? Hold on. Does anyone have a calculator or a pen, piece of paper?
That's so funny.
Does anyone know Common Core? Does anyone know Common Core? We could figure this out really quick.
PEMDAS.
Even if she won every single vote.
Every single vote. If she did, which not likely, not looking good in her favor, but if she did, then by your own math, she would come up only give or take 18,000 votes short. Do I have that math right?
Sounds like you could make a phone call and say, hey, I need to find 18,000 votes.
Yeah, it's
And
hilarious.
then you'd be charged with RICO.
Dude, it was 2:30 in the morning and MSNBC still had Trump sitting there at 266 and they were like trying to figure out a pathway. And you're like, I remember this game from 2016. This is awesome. I forgot how much I liked this movie.
Honestly, like as tired as I was, I still popped out of bed like a kid on fucking Christmas this morning at like 6:30. And I'm not kidding you. I can't remember the last time I felt so giddy to run downstairs. I was just like dancing. I was like, put the TV on. I only wanted to watch Emma. I think Rocky thought he was doing me a favor by leaving Fox News on, but I was like, oh, no. Get me MSNBC, get me CNN.
Isn't that hilarious? I was doing the same thing. I'm like, where are they? Where are they? What time does The View come on? God damn it. When's The View on? Like, it's so funny because we were all doing the same thing. It was like, so are you watching Fox News? It was like, oh God, no. Why would I do that?
No, I want to laugh.
No.
Are you insane? Like I had to do Legos at some point. I had my table and I've got my big screen TV there. Mm-hmm. And then I had my dope iPad. I had my iPhone and I had literally 4 broadcasts going at once. And I'm just like, oh, what are these ones saying? What are those ones? And I had Crowder's stream on. I had Daily Wires on. Yep. I was going between CNN, MSNBC, Fox News. It was just like, and it was really kind of wild to see how much their coverage changed based on which team they were on. Mm-hmm. And it was like, Crowder's team was bragging like, look, we have the same data. We know we're paying for it too. We know that this is over. Yes, sorry, this is Georgia is done. Yeah, Georgia is done, and it's like
called Georgia before everybody.
Yeah, we're an hour and a half later, and it's like CNN still hasn't called Georgia. MSNBC might call it tomorrow, and it was like, and then they did a good job of going through and breaking down like, here's how we got here, here's why, here's what all of the stations are looking at, all of the networks. Here's the map, and blah blah blah. So who was most of your coverage with? Who did you stay most with?
Crowder and the Daily Wire for sure. I had them on like my computer and my iPad, and then I was flipping on my big TV between like MSNBC, CNN, Fox News.
So we were doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So did you have any complaints? Because I think this is a huge shift in what you think of the media landscape. Like this is going to seem like archaic 4 years from now, but standard. That you're not just going to you're not relying or handcuffed by the networks. I really believe that this will be like, remember when we had 3 channels of TV? Remember when we had to go to ABC and sit there and watch the news to find out what, like, it's going to be one of those things. And they just haven't caught up yet. Did you have any complaints about Crowder's coverage or, cause I did, I had some complaints.
Crowder, I like Crowder, but I don't know. Sometimes I think he tries a little bit too hard with like his comedy, and I don't know. It's just sometimes, and then like, I don't know. It's really hard to say. It's really hard to verbalize. But at some point, I was like, okay, this is kind of bugging me. I'm gonna like turn this off and go.
Got very repressed gay energy.
Yes,
he's very theatrical.
Yeah.
He's. I got to say, his Gilbert Godfrey is spot fucking on.
Oh yeah, it's so funny. It's so good.
He does some really good impressions, but there's a reason as the headliner, Dave Landau was the headliner when they were on the road, because his comedy chops aren't great, and he tries really hard. I think that's what you were alluding to keep that comedy part going. I don't know why he has a comic, why that's necessary. I've told Landau this to his face, like, why does he have you sitting there? Like, what is the point of this? Like, that show is what it is. It's very, very good. It's just not necessary. And to the forced comedy sketches.
Yes.
And we just like, this is a critical time, especially early in the night. It was like, I don't need to go to some extended fucking, and I would just bail. I'm like, at this point, I still need CNN a little bit. I need John at the board just fucking going through counties I've never heard of and what they're running.
Everybody loves that on election day.
But
I was watching Daily Wire's coverage of Kamala's speech this afternoon.
Yeah, I just watched that.
Yeah, I think it was Dennis Prager who was saying, he's like, I don't even consider them mainstream media anymore. I consider them liberal media. And he said, and I think that companies like the Daily Wire and Joe Rogan, that's mainstream media now. Like that's
100%.
the mainstream.
Yeah, it's a great way to think about it because it's true.
Yeah,
it's true. They're and a lot more balanced, honestly. You know, if you want to see bias creep in with the Daily Wire, you can find it when it comes to Gaza, Palestine. Like Ben Shapiro is what he is, and that's where you'll see it kind of leak into his opinion on things. But by and large, they're one of the sources I go to because I find that their reporting is just better. You can see the bias in so many of these networks. You know, CNN was a great example, the video we just watched, where they're trying to figure out broken math to find and explain like how do we still what you know, and trying to come off as professional. It's like, bro, this is 4-year-old stuff you're going through right now.
Right.
How long are you going to keep pissing your pants in front of all of us?
Right.
Like, you know, this is just going to be for us to mock tomorrow, right? Like that's all that is. I watched Kamala's speech, and then we'll get back to some videos, but I watched Kamala's speech 10 minutes before we came on right now. And I got to be honest with you. It makes me more angry than anything. Because it's so, and I haven't come up with the analogy to verbalize it yet, but coming out and saying all the right buzzwords about democracy and freedom and respect and love thy neighbor and, you know, we must respect the results, and unlike some, kind of an alluding to, unlike some people, you know, hey, when an election doesn't go your way, like all of those things where people can go, see, that's how it's done.
Yeah.
And it's like, no. You just spent 6 straight months poisoning people, gaslighting, lying, deceiving. You ginned people up so hard. You're the biggest bully on the block for months with complete cover from landscape media. That's what you did.
Yes.
And then America said, we're done buying this.
Yeah.
We're not buying any of this. And the ass whooping was so fucking hard, so big that you lost everything because of it.
Yes. Correct.
Everything. You lost it all. And now you get to go up there and be like, it's all about respect for each other. It's like,
it's like,
I'm not
you know what?
That.
Bitch, last week you called me a Nazi.
Yeah,
exactly. Yes. And I'll tell you, I felt that. I felt the same way. Although I will say, one, I think that's the most coherent she's ever been in a speech. It's like she was
her
made.
Trans statements. Her trans statements were pretty fucking coherent.
Yeah. But I mean, I think she was like made for concession speeches. It was just like so natural to her, you know? But I'll say this, as somebody who's called Hitler and a Nazi on a regular basis, I appreciated the tone of her message. I appreciated that she didn't get up there and say all of those things again, because I do think that, you know, as adults, we've all spoken, right? We voted, he won. I am going to give everybody the opportunity to follow their leader and be nice and be cool about it. I know from past experience, they're not going to do that. She's not going to do that. The media is not going to do that. And none of the people on the left are going to do that. So, but I am going to go in as the bigger person and say, yeah, that's what this party is calling for. So let's keep you honest. Let's do that. It's not going to happen. But I appreciated that, the tone that she had. I appreciated that she didn't come out and say the country's going to burn tomorrow. You know, she did say, like, it's going to be okay. We don't stop fighting. It's going to be a longer fight, which, you know, some may say is insurrection language, but I
only coming from one side, let's be honest.
Right. But you know, so I appreciated it. Because I am trying to be the bigger
did too.
Person, but
I absolutely appreciate that tone. And, you know, I'm it's just not lost on me that other leaders in that party were saying months ago, Like a lot of people might not know, but they were saying stuff like, under no circumstance do you concede this election.
Right.
Like those words were spoken by those people. And, you know, Jamie Raskin can say whatever he wants today. Do you have the tweet from Jamie Raskin?
Yeah, I can grab it real quick.
You know, I literally was like, oh, fuck, I forgot about Jamie Raskin. What's he saying at 2:30 in the morning?
Oh, yeah.
And
he tried to deny saying that.
Yeah. He's,
I commented on it.
I don't know
did he get community noted?
Oh, like a motherfucker. Yeah.
I love it. I love X.
And the comments, just getting pounded like, now we're supposed to not have ears either or eyes.
The gaslighting is insane.
Can you guys read that? It's hard for me to read what he said.
I can't read it, but
here, pull it back up to the top. So this fictional quote is 100% fabricated. It's one more lie in the stream of right-wing lies designed to undermine our election. Despite this actionable libel and all the disinformation, America is having a free and fair election, and Congress will certify the winner. That's a level of gaslighting, and he's community noted immediately.
What does the community note say?
and the comments are just pounding him, and they're all replaying the video at him.
Yeah, like we all have ears.
Yeah. So he's trying to go down to the first comment. And you'll see people sharing the video. We played it yesterday or the day before. Why don't we watch the video again? And you know, so winter is coming.
Yeah, somebody's got some little edits on it, but we can do that one.
Yeah, if you've got one that doesn't have the edits on it, there you go.
Right here.
There you go.
Amending the Constitution, but again, it's necessary, but it's not sufficient because what can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand, as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer.
Couldn't be clear.
It's stating, and so. You know, they want to kick it to Congress, so it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025 to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody and Civil War conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have not many cases
you get
to
the
look
point.
at every day. Not that
So Civil War, No, Jamie, it's pretty clear what you were saying there. And you know, words matter.
Sunny Hostin said it again on The View today that she is so disappointed that the 14th Amendment failed.
Yeah. It's clear. And you know, I thought because the ass whooping was so sound, you know, when you lose everything, I thought there would have to be an accounting of some sort. But it's less than 12 hours later, and already, you know, I watched Joe Scarborough. You know, we don't have to play it all, but
struggle bus.
I mean, he is. I mean, off the deep, like learned nothing. Juan Williams was trending #1 last night for his ridiculous comments. Still just dying to separate everybody. Women think this way. Gays think this way. Blacks think this way. Whites think this way. And it's just like, this is such a losing formula for these people. And to just double, triple, quadruple down on this attitude. Like, is it possible? Is it just possible? I mean, I'm just brainstorming here. Is it possible you ran a garbage candidate and that had something to do with it?
No, obviously it's because she's a woman.
Yeah. Of color.
Yeah.
And
you know what's funny?
Nothing makes me happier than the fact that Donald Trump beat both women candidates. Like, why is that so funny to me? I just get such a kick out of that because I know it drives him crazy.
I don't know who it was, but I think someone said something like, you know, I don't think I've seen one guy beat this many women since Doug Emhoff or something along those lines. Or maybe it was me. I don't know.
That's pretty good. I've seen a couple saying we haven't seen this many women beaten since the 24 Olympics. By men. Yeah.
By men.
Yeah, it's true. Should we watch Scott Jennings? Because I think he oh no, you know what? Before we get to Scott Jennings, how about Harris outperforming Biden?
Yeah.
Did you have that one on CNN? This one hit him a little hard too, where they're like, okay, let's see, she's got to be dominating somewhere. So let's check out their map. They brought graphics for us. So.
Vice President is overperforming Joe Biden in 2020. So we could show you that as well. We just bring that out here. Harris overperforming 2020.
Holy smokes.
There you go. So let this go away and see if there's anything on the east side there.
Literally nothing?
Literally nothing.
Literally not one county?
By 3% or more. Are there any places that the vice president is over?
Literally not one
Literally
county.
not one county.
Not one? We didn't get one county?
I saw a tweet today from someone on the left who was on the struggle bus comparing voting numbers from last election to this election, and how Biden received 15 million more votes than Kamala did. And the question this person was posing to everybody was, where the fuck did 15 million Democrat voters go? And I was like, you just said the quiet part out loud, my girl, because that's what we've all been wondering this entire time, is how Trump can win the popular vote this time with 71 million. I think he got did he get less votes this time than he did last time?
I think so.
Yeah, he did. Somebody put it in our comments earlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So Trump gets 72 and wins the popular, but in 2020 he only got 74 million and lost.
Yes.
Crazy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Albert. Yep.
Yeah, they're really sticking hard on that. I gotta say, overall, I was rather impressed with the how the states did as far as counting. And now let's take the Detroits out of the conversation of good jobs, because it is hilarious how at 1 a.m. it's still like 2% count. You're like,
listen.
Hey,
I did my part in Wayne County.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so they haven't gotten to counting yours yet. It's just comical. And do you think there's anything to this? Because G and I were talking about this last night, where I thought the country did a really good job. Most counties, it was like you'd see a continuous 65% reporting, 80% reporting, 90% reporting at a reasonable hour, and then it's like, oh, we're still waiting in Wayne County over here at 12%. And you're like,
they're going to get a little bit longer.
Do you think though that the point is they know the whole country is waiting on these battleground areas and they're holding their stuff, or is it just ineptitude?
A little bit of both, because I was going to say there was a big news report that a bunch of ballots got involved into a car crash somewhere along the line. Car accident.
Yeah,
I sent that to you, didn't I, Mike?
Yeah, you did. You did. You sent me a couple good ones.
But I did think it was kind of funny.
I don't think one person's car would alter that many votes to where it would like throw out.
But they have to count them all, just in case.
Yeah, right. I guess I don't understand why like the whole state can get it together, but not Wayne County, not the city of Detroit.
Right.
I don't understand why we haven't all adopted the Florida model, because they get their results out in like 5 minutes. And Arizona, I don't think they still have reported. Has Nevada officially reported?
No, I don't think so. And there's a couple counties like in Alaska, I think. And I think there's a couple counties in northern Michigan where it's like, they haven't even started counting yet. It's like, you can imagine some tiny 1-horse town, that's just the way they do it. No big deal. But these ones, when you're talking about Maricopa County or Wayne County, like Cobb County, there's a lot of people waiting on you people, and it seems like they always, it's like, well, the rest of the state got it together somehow, and yet,
you know what I found really interesting this time around, in terms of watching election coverage that was 100% more accurate than the polls, was the betting lines. I was watching them all night last night.
The poly markets,
yeah, and Bovada, I think, is another one, but like I think they were always right. Like you could see like Michigan would start, and then one of the streams I was watching, he would always compare it to like a sporting event. And it's like, well, this is the equivalent of, the Chiefs having, being a 21-point favorite over the Broncos or something. And it's like, okay, I think he's gonna win.
Did money come pouring in and like balance it out towards the end at all for Kamala? Yeah. See, and I thought I heard people saying like, well, there's a lot of money being bet, and it's like, do you not understand how gambling and the odds work?
Exactly. Like, it's just like a toss-up game, and you're like, oh, well, I could make more money if I bet on this person. If it's really like 50-50, I mean,
totally.
Yeah.
I mean, think about how many people bet where it's like, well, I'm going to throw a little bit on that just because the odds are so crazy.
Right.
Like, pays huge.
This is my advice for all gambling addicts, especially. Your odds are always 50-50. Either win or you don't.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah. I've said that for years about the lotto.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's like,
how you play
they either win or lose. I don't know.
Yep.
I thought Scott Jennings had a good take, and Scott Jennings on CNN, he's the lone conservative voice on a panel of like a bunch of squawking demons. There's poor Scott Jennings just getting his ass handed to him, all the time, trying to like stay relevant in an insane atmosphere. And so they had to kind of give him his moment to talk. And I thought he's done a decent job holding his own this cycle. It hasn't been easy, but I would not want to have this gig. But let's hear Scott real quick.
I'm interpreting the results tonight as the revenge of just the regular old working class American, the anonymous American who has been crushed, insulted, condescended to. They're not garbage. They're not Nazis. They're just regular people who get up and go to work every day and are trying to make a better life for their kids. And they feel like they have been told to just shut up when they have complained about the things that are hurting them in their own lives. I also feel like
they're all
this
looking at
election,
him.
as we sit here and pour over this tonight, is something of an indictment of the political information complex. I mean, we've been sitting around here for the last couple of weeks, and the story that was portrayed was not true. I mean, we were told Puerto Rico was going to change the election. Liz Cheney, Nikki Haley voters, women lying to their husbands. Before that, it was Tim Walz and the camo hats.
Yep.
Night after night after night, we were told all these things and gimmicks were going to somehow push Harris over the line. And we were just ignoring the fundamentals. Inflation, people feeling like that they were barely able to tread water at best. That was the fundamentals of the election. But I think for all of us who cover elections and talk about elections and do this on a day-to-day basis, we have to figure out how to understand, talk to, and listen to the half of the country that rose up tonight and said, we've had enough. I do think the way this campaign was run was basically on, the Democrats thought there were enough people who hated Trump or were willing to fear him to win the race. And it turns out there's more to being president than simply not being Donald Trump in the eyes of the American people. I'm a little worried about how Democrats are going to react. They've been told Trump is a modern-day Hitler, or at least he's a fascist.
Yeah.
And now Kamala Harris, I suspect, is going to have to wake up in the morning and concede to that person. I'm a little concerned about an election in which half the country was conditioned to believe that the person who just won the national popular vote is going to be a dictator, eliminate the Constitution, and create a bloodbath, and so on and so forth. So we have to. I'm just
Van, shut up.
We have to reckon with that in the aftermath of that argument.
Yeah.
Well said.
He's not wrong, and seeing them, have to eat crow is very
they never learn. I mean, do they have the slowest fucking learning curve of anybody ever?
Yeah.
This has been going on since 2016.
Yeah. It has, and I wanted to, I made some bold predictions about them not letting him in the White House. I had a lot of concerns about this stuff, and I was wrong in that. They're going to let him in the White House.
Yeah.
They don't have a choice.
Too big to rig.
And what happened last night, I didn't believe necessarily that too big to rig. There's a reason for that statement.
Yeah.
There's a reason for it. I did want to point out to people like how I got there. How did I get to that way of thinking? And I think you've got the headlines there, Garrett, of what those of us, and a lot more of you are paying attention to this stuff. So this isn't new to a lot of you, but when you saw the way things went in 2020, and the way that all went down, like you had questions, the campaign that was run, you had questions, but you can't forget they tried to keep this man off the ballot at one point. Okay, this isn't just like if you go down the line, and if I forget any, please remind me, Amy. Do you have the headlines there, Garrett? If I go down these, it's the Trump one. How did I tried to keep him off the ballot?
Yep.
And so if you just pull up the headline while I'm talking, so the state Supreme Court says they can't kick Trump off the ballot. That was a real what's that?
I forgot they tried to do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's funny.
They impeached him, right?
Yeah.
And Garrett, while I'm going through these bullet by bullet, if you have the headlines, I think I pulled up headlines for each of these so people know where this was coming from. I've found real stories. So that's dead. Get rid of that one, Politico one. The next one is impeach. And it doesn't matter. Trust me when I say I brought receipts for these. The lawfare ones that went on in this country. The four, in
I
the
thought
states.
he was going to be in jail.
Yeah. They tried to put him in jail.
They said he was never going to be able to become president because he'd be in jail.
Yeah, there's the second impeachment of Donald Trump. If you don't forget, we had conversations on Landscape Media of can he still be elected, and what would happen if he's sitting in a prison cell when he's elected president? Do you remember those stories?
Yes.
Yep.
They tried to bankrupt this man.
Mm-hmm.
Trump seeks recusal of judge who fined him $460 million. Don't forget the assassination attempts. And if you've been a part of this show at all and listened, we were telling you it was coming, that they're running out of options here of what to do with this guy. And then it got down to the 14th Amendment. People like Jamie Raskin. These aren't the point being in pulling up these headlines is this is CNN politics. It's Politico. These are what some believe are trusted news outlets. I'd say they're kind of a joke, but they're trusted out. This isn't just some clown on Twitter. Right. I wouldn't have gone down this road. And there's a full story in the New York Times about how here's the breakdown of how the 14th Amendment would work to make sure that he's not allowed back in the White House. It took an overwhelming ass whooping last night to where you would have so much problem in this country. And I knew they were in trouble last night. You probably picked up on it too, Amy, when the reports started coming in about the early voting. And it was like, well, Kamala's going to need big turnout on election day. If she's going to have a chance in this. And it was like, oh, that's way harder to fuck with.
Yeah.
Way harder to fuck with same day votes and that setup than it is when you've got weeks to mail in and we've got picking them up over here. And
that's why I wasn't as worried about the overnight switch, like what happened last year or last time, is because there weren't as many mail-in ballots this time. I think that was, an extenuating circumstance. And I wonder, I really wonder at what point do you think the Democrats looked at each other and went, oh, fuck, we way overshot last year or last election. Like we did 15 million too many.
I walked into my voting booth or polling station and was very happy when they handed me a piece of paper and a pen.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it doesn't matter. And I was having a conversation with my mom about this, and she brought it up, and I think she's right. I'm starting to think it's better that it went down this way, that he lost in 2020, whether it was straight up loss. And I've never taken off that wasn't an absolutely the freest and fairest election of all time. That's possible. It's possible. I don't believe it, but it's possible that there were really no shenanigans and this was all nothing. But the fact that Trump got 4 years to sit back, to reflect, to think about his administration, the people around him. And it gave 4 years for this party to take power and show how they govern, to show what they're capable of, to show the American people to their face what their policies in action look like, and then make another vote 4 years later.
Yeah.
And that result showed itself in spades last night. And no amount of media cover, no amount of lies could at the end of the day break through for the reality that people were seeing. That's the fact.
Yeah.
And so we've often talked about who's to say what's good or bad. You know, oh, I broke my leg. Oh, well, it turns out the draft was the next day and I didn't get drafted. Like, was breaking, like, who knows? Whatever happens in your world, what was good or bad? Who's to say? And it might just be that all the fucking bullshit, all the fuckery that went on 4 years ago led people to kind of open their eyes to what their media really is. Because it's been obvious to people really, really paying attention for a living to these people, how fucked up this was. Eyes have been opened that were absolutely closed 4 years ago.
Yeah.
That's just a fact.
I agree. And I think that had he won in 2020, he would have had to deal with the aftermath, the immediate aftermath of COVID.
Yeah.
Which I think I just think that would have been kind of like a nightmare for him and how they were treating him and just his legacy in general. Like, I think it was maybe kind of good. Like, okay, you think he did a bad job with COVID? You come on in. Yeah. Let's see how you do it. Oh, you tried to mandate the vaccine on people? That's how you wanted to govern? Cool.
Yeah.
We now have had 4 years of your bullshit, like you said, and we're ready. Yeah. We're ready.
And seeing the machine take over, seeing the war machine in play, and back to the never ending wars, and for some reason the American people funding bullshit wars all over the world. How, like, nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. You know, you're
the Democrats stump for Liz Cheney, a member of the Cheney family.
Yeah.
Like, what a Twilight Zone.
Full warmonger too.
Desperation.
Just like
desperation. On warmonger. Full on.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, it's
like the Cheneys were their enemy, the enemy of the Democrats.
Yeah. And it was almost like, you know, well, anybody that's willing to jump on and go on live TV and stump for us, we'll take it. And it was just like, really, most people that are leftists looked at that like Dick Cheney literally is their Darth Vader. Literally. Right. That's their Darth Vader. Like, he is, when you talk about, like, he's more hated than Bush. Yes. And so to stuff him up on stage and like, we've got Dick Cheney's vote and Liz Cheney, like, you know, Liz Cheney got fucking absolutely walloped in an election and then came over to your side, right? You know that. Like, so
this is the bipartisan January 6th committee, Mike.
Yeah. Her and Kinzinger. How's that working out? Take them. And I don't think 4 years ago you have anything close to what I think is potential. I hope. Yeah. We could be wrong, but there's no fucking way Tulsi Gabbard is there. There's no way RFK Jr. is there. There's no way Elon Musk is there.
Yep.
This, you know, could that any chance that happens 4 years ago?
No, hell no.
None. So it might have been a long time in waiting, and it might have been really angering, but, you know, who's to say what's good or bad? Everything happens for a reason. Yeah. And I am hopeful that you're going to see there's going to be tantrums and all that shit, but getting control of the House, the Senate, all of that shit was not possible 4 years ago.
No.
Not possible.
I mean, talk about a red fucking wave.
Yeah. And that red wave they thought was coming in 22, this country wasn't quite ready.
That was too close to the the Roe overturn. Yeah. There was zero chance of a red wave after that happened.
Yep. You know, and I know it's kind of, it's insulting the people that are like, hey, you know, my brother does this to me, and I adore my brother, and it sucks because I know he's a genuine dude who's coming from a well-intentioned place, but he just hasn't quite got there with just how rotten to the core so many of these elitists that we you know, put our faith and trust in, you know, government bodies, media people. I've been on the fuck the media for 25 years. So seeing this egg hatch is really justifying for me. It's really special because it's been right there in plain sight for a long time. And so the people that say, you know, did you see 60 Minutes? You know, they talked about this, the election, and it's like they've got some story on the election. And all I can think is, you really need to think, you know, you had a major party candidate, a former president, saying something happened at this election. The media's job is not to assume a story is a lie and then do slick production pieces to prove that it's a lie.
Right.
That's not that's called propaganda by definition. That's what that is. Yeah. So I don't care if, look, dude, there's 100 stories here showing. It's like, yeah, that's what a propaganda, like the Ministry of Propaganda would do. That's what it does. Mm-hmm. That's not what a journalist with any sort of integrity does. Like you go, here's a claim. It's not a claim by some whack job on Twitter. It's a claim by a major party and a former president. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's worth that. And so that's what you saw. So all those stories, I kind of discount. It doesn't mean they're all wrong, but I kind of discount them because of their past behaviors. It's like once you lose faith in someone, it's lost. And so you don't know what you can trust. And the way I look at the way the left sees Trump, I was thinking a lot about it, and it's like that friend in a really bad relationship, you know, where, you know, everything that comes out of her mouth drives you nuts. You know, you like, I can only say it as she, because I've only dated chicks, but I'm sure girls have this too, where a guy, same thing. But you know what I'm saying, where it's like, she walks in and is like, how was your day? And you're like, how the fuck was your day?
Yeah.
Like everything. Every word out of their mouth, you know, and your friend comes and goes, dude, she seems really cool. And it's like, dude, you have no fucking idea.
Yeah.
It's that.
Yeah.
It's like this bad relationship where you can't, you know, it's the thing, like, if you choose to look at the world in certain ways, it's what you see them do on the left with this kind of identity politics, where it's like, white picket fence. What? Because you hate blacks? Why could you hate it? Like, it's like, okay, I guess you could twist your head into thinking along those lines, I suppose. And so literally everything that comes out of Trump's mouth, if you look at it, view it under the context of, this is coming from a bad place, a nefarious place, an evil place, a rotten place, a selfish place, and you put it under that lens, that's all you're going to see.
Yeah.
That's all you're capable of seeing. And
and I mean, you know, they did it with his last term of not being able to admit that he did anything good. And it's like, people outside of the United States thought Donald Trump should win the Nobel Peace Prize because of what he did in the Middle East.
Absolutely.
Like unheard of stuff that he brought to the Middle East. Not saying it's perfect, but he did something that nobody else has been able to do. He cemented HBCU funding permanently.
Van Jones was a fan for that day.
Yeah.
Van Jones was a fan for that day.
Right. And they don't want to talk about the insulin thing because they want to take credit for it. But he did the insulin thing.
How about the child? What was the child care one where he gave $5,000 and she was like, we made it $6,000?
Yes.
Like that,
child tax credit. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, they can't admit that he did anything well. And like you said, even if you have a conversation with someone and you say that, it's like, oh, well, he was just trying to do that to, because he wanted to win the black vote. He doesn't actually care about black people. And it's like, but he did it. He did it, right? Who cares why he did it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. No, if you're like, I don't feel any joy. I feel a little bit of hope because of the people surrounding this individual this time. And unfortunately, if you believe like I do, the messenger had to be this cat. Like I get it. I understand that it's offensive to some people, but I gotta say, man, at the end of the day, is it becoming more and more obvious that this might be the most honest human in history?
Right.
Like, think about having the world's target on you, desperately trying to find an instance anywhere in the earth where you did something, said something. This guy has been on video and microphone for 50 straight years.
Right.
And you can't find the one gotcha moment of him dropping an N-bomb or saying, Jesus Christ, why are these Mexicans lazy? Like nothing in 50 years.
Yeah.
No secret tape, no disgruntled former employee that has him on tape doing that. None.
Right.
None. Zero. So you have to make it up.
Epstein list now, do you think?
What's that?
Do we get the Epstein list now?
I think we do, probably.
Do you think there's a list? Is there an actual list somewhere? Is there a black book
I think there's a black book
in the safe of the FBI somewhere? Like, where is the list?
Yeah, I don't know.
Tapes.
What's that?
Yeah. Probably.
I don't know what that looks like, but I think it's a client list is what they've talked about. So it comes down to like who was his normal.
Yeah.
And so obviously Bill Gates is all over it, over it, stuff like that.
But like, why isn't that already out? Are those records are sealed then, I guess?
Do you think they would be sealed if Trump's name was all over it?
Oh, hell. I mean, we would have known about that so long ago. Are you kidding me? I mean, so long. I saw on TMZ today, TMZ actually published this, that X users are asking John Hinckley to try to assassinate Trump.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me.
I'm like, you people are freaking lunatics.
Did you see what Bette Midler did?
Oh, God, no.
Oh, this is just breaking. She posted something like, if Kamala wins, she's going to drink champagne. If Trump wins, she's drinking Drano. And then today she deleted her Twitter account. And everyone's dunking on her. I love it.
Yeah, that's great. They've brought it on themselves. Again, remember, these are people that desperately need, they're performers. They love cameras on them. They, and no press is bad press kind of people. And so they can't help but put themselves in that situation. It's really tough. I when I go through that list, impeachment, lawfare, bankruptcy, assassination, 14th Amendment, keep him off the ballot. I think those are small potatoes. When you talk about literally, it's insane to even think about 9 straight years of almost exclusively shitty coverage.
Yes.
Terrible coverage. We've heard lies, distortions, context misrepresentations, outright slander. Like that's what this dude has fought through.
He has a mugshot.
He has a mugshot.
He has a mugshot in his fucking suit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's insanity that guy came out the other end of that and pulled off what he did.
I mean, it cannot be overstated. Like the comeback that guy had. And it just goes to show, like, and I really hope that after Trump, that the Republicans are able to keep up this momentum. I think they are with people like JD Vance. I hope to God they don't get back into the Mitt Romneys and the Liz.
Oh no,
like,
no, I think they know too. Yeah, you're right, Amy. I hope look, man, we're as hopeful as anybody. We, I know as Nazis and fascists and garbage and all that stuff, you would think and assume we hate the country and all that.
Well, and Trump's never leaving office, but in the event that he died,
obviously,
when he was like 125, when that were to happen,
Barron's going to be even worse.
Yes. Yeah.
No, it's I feel bad because what 9 straight years of coverage like that, when it's the context misrepresentation is probably the worst, in my opinion, where you just flat take someone out of context for what they're doing and try to make something outrageous claim about it. Like that stuff is so bad. Like, do you remember the counter of lies? The counter that CNN had? And I don't even know when
they love a good counter. They love a good counter. The death count was the best.
It was to the point. And if you're being honest with yourselves, they'd be like, "Oh, here's Trump today on the speech," and we've got boots on the ground, and we've gone to the beauty standards experts at the at the Paul Mitchell School of Cosmetology, who said Trump's claims are false, and then we tracked down attorney. I'm a douche at Stanford Law, who said not only are these claims dangerous and possibly libelous, but there could be there's potential for class action. It's class actionable because lots of women are very offended by this outright lie that Melania is the most beautiful woman in the world. And then add that lie to the counter, and you're like, this is where we are with these people. And it's so desperate. It was so gross. But the fallout is for a pretty measurable amount of people, they bought that hook, line, and sinker. And it's not fair. It's really unfair what those people have been put through.
It's worse than you think sometimes.
Oh, I know it is. And I know a lot of them. They're good-hearted. They're good-natured people. They do love their country. They do really honestly believe that Hitler was just put into the White House. They believe that Project 2025 starts tomorrow. Yeah. They believe there's going to be a federal ban on abortion, however the fuck that would work. They believe the very fine people hoax. They believe he claims to be a dictator from day one. He's going to lock up media members and political opponents. Internment camps. I mean, these are the things.
They said that again today on The View. Sonny Hassan said that that's something we have to worry about. And Debbie Dingleberry from Michigan said that Trump wants to put her in an internment camp. Her.
Yeah, it's
nice.
What time do you guys work your shift at the internment camp? Are you morning?
Right.
I'm a 7 to 4 guy.
I've got a white power meeting this evening at 8.
Oh,
but I'll be available after that. I've got a new rally starting tonight.
Did you get a new hood, or are you still waiting on a new hood?
No, I've still got the same MAGA hood I had before.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
I want to get one of the dark MAGA Klan hats, Klan hoods. Those are dope.
Well, that's you have to be a Grand Wizard for that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for he was selling autographed Klan hoods, so I'm waiting for that in the mail.
Well, I'm really hoping, we're going to start seeing some absurd, because someone's got to justify and make sense of this. I'm already hearing stuff like, we got to give it up for. I mean, let's be honest. He's been campaigning for 4 years and she only had 107 days.
I heard that today. I was like,
she's like 107 days. She was available to travel to Rogan.
Yeah. And he would have had her for literally 107 days. They're
Where
also
do you think the Democrat Party goes next, Mike? Do they take a page out of the Republican handbook and throw up a celebrity and try to win that way? Or do they try to go like the Whitmer, Newsom, edge route?
Yeah.
They're going to have to. So if they honestly looked in the mirror, they would have to acknowledge, because what happened here, I think, was Trump did it, so we have to take the opposite viewpoint, right? Trump did these border executive orders. We have to undo them all because everything he is and does is bad. So even if it was damaging to the country, We had to do it because we're the opposite of him. And that attitude has to change, has to. And you've got to come closer to the middle. You cannot run a clear gay man pretending to be a man's man football coach, and nobody would have a problem if he's just a gay dude. Nobody. Yeah. But it's this like, no, he's really the guy guys would look up to. And it's like, no, I know a lot of guys. None of them are being like, dude, when my boy grows up, I hope he's like Tim Walz. Like, that's never been uttered by anybody ever. Of course not. And Kamala Harris was just there's certain people I'm convinced, like Barack Obama knows exactly what he's saying. Very smart guy. Hillary Clinton's very smart. She's pure evil, in my opinion. She knows what she's doing. Bill Clinton is a crafty politician. Kamala Harris is absolute puppet. Biden puppet. Tim Walz just happy to be there. Puppet. Like, go along. There are people there, and where I was going with this is the blame game starting. They're really piling on Tim Walz. Tim Walz was the problem.
Yeah, of course.
And that they didn't.
Which he was.
He was not helpful at all.
No, he wasn't helpful. But I don't know that he was. I mean, what do you think was the biggest problem with this campaign?
It's very easy. She is the vice president of somebody who everyone wanted to move on from. Yeah. And when she was asked, what would you do different? She said nothing. She said nothing. And I've been involved in all of the major decisions. And then she tried to turn around and say, a vote for me is a vote for change. And it's like, you had to decide, were you going to throw old man under the bus, or were you going to go along with him? And if you wanted to win, you had to say that you were going to do some shit different. And you're so right, Mike, that like they have to get away from which I don't know how they're going to do this, because when you say that someone is Hitler, and then a year from down the road, he has a policy that is generally good for everybody. If you get on board with that, you're supporting Hitler. You are now a Nazi. And so I don't know how they get away from that, but I agree. They have to get away from that. They have to.
Yeah. They have to come more to the center. And a Josh Shapiro would have done that. He's the luckiest politician in America today, by the way. Yeah. Because he's not anchored to what that was. Like Josh Shapiro being more moderate, being middle America for real, and being in that position, he maybe could have helped her. I don't think you can just erase Joe Biden. Like, it would have required, but he would have helped. But then he would have been damaged goods. Right. And the fact is, if you think this was just like, oh, white women failed us, or racist men failed us, if that's true, then obviously you would run such a brilliant politician again, like Kamala Harris. Yeah. Do you think Kamala Harris is who the DNC is going to run next time around?
I hope not. And
not honestly, a chance, dude.
With somebody like Josh, and I was going to say with somebody like Josh Shapiro, it'd be nice. Maybe it's good we get Trump this time. We can have him running for the Democrats next time, and Vance going up against him. I'd like to see those debates, see how those guys tough it out, and it'd be a much more understandable election. I would be happy to vote in that one.
Yeah.
That's as
lame as Tim Walz is, I think a lot of people watched that vice presidential debate and they were like, yeah, this was kind of refreshing, just two dudes like talking politics and not like having to shut mics off and like, you're bobbing and weaving like Trump does, which can get exhausting. So I think there's definitely
JD Vance fighting the hosts.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
I think that they're going to throw Whitmer up there, though.
Yeah. What do you guys think? I've been out of Michigan so long. Like, COVID is really when she kind of came into more prominence, and I was gone for like 2 years during that time. And when I came home, I was like, Stretch and Gretchen, holy shit, like Michiganders really had an opinion on her. That I wasn't there for. And it wasn't, I spent most of that time in California, and it wasn't something that, the rest of the country knew who she was. She just was not on the main stage yet. So I kind of came in like, where do Michiganders stand? Because I know I can tell already they're really pushing her.
No,
she sucks.
It was 100% when she made the policy to put the COVID patients with the old folks. I think that's when everyone took notice and got really pissed off. Like, hey, you're killing grandma over there.
Yeah, and something with a boat, like her and her husband.
And her husband. And then, she's hopping on a private jet and fleeing down to Florida while we're all locked down here and told that we can't go anywhere. She flew out to, her and her daughters flew out to the inauguration. It
was rules for thee, not for me.
Yes, she is a tyrant. But unfortunately, Jocelyn Benson, who's our Secretary of State and one of the worst, most corrupt human beings on the planet, Jocelyn.
Really?
I hate her with every fiber of my being. And she is likely going to become the next governor. Like, she's next in line.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's scary.
I hope not, but
that's scary. But Trump is going to win Michigan. He's going to win Arizona. He's going to win Nevada. Like, it's.
Oh, he won Michigan. I think they announced it for him.
Did they announce it?
Yeah.
As of recording or as of us going live, I don't think they had. Well, not on MSNBC. They just announced.
Yes.
I swear to God, right before we went live, they said, "Oh, we've got an update," and they awarded Maine to Kamala Harris.
Michigan. Yep.
Yeah, I was seeing it on the local channels, the local news channels.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Trump won Michigan.
Trump did. Yeah.
Yep. Look at that.
Alyssa Slotkin.
Just Detroit.
And not
Roger. What's that?
I mean, Slotkin, the representative. Or the Senate race, she won. She's a Democrat and she won by like 0.3% or something over the. So, yeah.
Is that for the Senate or is that for Senator?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not too happy about that.
Yeah.
Me either. What that has to be is just people walking into the booth and doing Trump and then walking out, right? That's why I sent my husband in with a cheat sheet.
Oh, yeah.
Like, pull it up on your phone. These are who you need to vote for.
Yeah. Nope. Dude, I missed that when Beth would give me the one to vote for, and then I would just take it into the voting booth and vote the opposite on all of them.
Yeah.
I was just like, thank you. I swear to God, she'd be like, here's who you're voting for. I was like, thanks, hon. I appreciate it. And then I go in and exact opposite on all of them. I was like, I don't want any of that. I don't want any of that batshit libtard stuff. So, yeah, I never told her that, but that's, it was like, no, I appreciate it. I know exactly where your line of thinking is, and I'm going that way. So, I think a lot of us do that, but
I really think that this is going to be a really good presidency. I'm not going to lie. Like, I really feel that way. I think he's going to surround himself with good people. I don't think anyone's going to lose their rights. I don't think that he's going to stay in office past when he's supposed to.
Of course
I don't think he's going to round everyone up in internment camps. Nope.
Project 2025.
Yeah.
Matt Walsh posted a funny post today. And he was like, I think it's time to admit Project 2025 was the plan all along.
Just fuck with him.
Did you see Elon's tweet?
Which one?
Did you see the one he posted today? Do you have that one, Garrett?
Yeah, I'm pulling up now.
I love this. Let that sink in.
Yep, let that sink in. So
let that sink in. Yeah.
And then Mark Cuban comes out right afterwards and like congratulates Trump, and it's like, oh, somebody doesn't want the Elon Musk treatment when we get into power, and want his companies investigated. And
he probably actually worries about that too. That Trump would do that, which is nonsense.
Yeah,
nonsense.
And that's the thing. Like, as much as I would love that, I would have loved lock her up. I would have loved to lock Hillary up. I think she deserves it. But people need to understand that was more of just like it was just like a saying. We didn't actually think he was going to lock her up.
Yeah.
And I, as much as I think that they deserve every bad thing that comes to them for what they did to Trump and how they've treated him, I do not want him to come in and treat them the same way, because I think we lose our country at that point. Like, we need to come in and just be like, I would love for him to put it all on blast. Like, hey, let's just open up the vault and let's see what the DOJ has been doing this whole time. I would rather have him do that than, going after his political opponents, because that's not what we are.
No, none of us are. And he won't. But I there's something that really irks me about a handful of them that is like, you know what? The damage you personally did, Adam Schiff, to this country. Nancy Pelosi, like Adam Schiff really, like that Russiagate set this whole thing off and got us to the point we're at now. And that was absolute bullshit. And that California lawyer snake knew it and didn't care. Didn't care about the damage, the mental instability he was causing nationwide. There's still never been an apology or anything for that. And so, I agree with you. I don't, but it's not lost on me that Steve Bannon spent 4 months in a prison for contempt of Congress. And Eric Holder, it's a joke, the idea that Eric Holder was going to do time, because no one on the Republican side was going to put Eric Holder in prison for the same thing. But it's like, no, there was like a giddiness and a glee and rounding up anyone associated with Trump. I mean, I haven't forgotten all the stories of anyone who ever took a job for Trump should never be allowed in polite society again. They should be shamed off TV. Like that happened.
Yeah.
That happened. If you even took a job in his administration, and that is like, there's a level of censorship in that. In like, I guarantee you, people had like good, potentially good, strong candidates for positions, had discussions with their wives or their husbands going, is it worth it? This is an opportunity of a lifetime to maybe make some real change in Washington, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah. That's why, Mike, you always say you think I'm going to get in politics. Fuck that. Up, down, backwards, front, like ways. Fuck that. I would much rather, be on Twitter or, talk on a podcast like this than have to get involved with that. It's just, and I think some people probably do get in it with good intentions, but unless you're a billionaire like Donald Trump and you just have all the fuck you money in the world, there's no way that you can get far without being corrupted in some fashion.
Yeah, for sure.
You're always going to owe someone something.
And the point that, like, for you getting into it, that's a dream for me, where you're like, I know there are good, smart, competent people, men, women, whatever. I don't care what their orientation is. Like, there are good people that would be good for their communities. And it would be a radical change to have those people. But the fact is, the game is so poisonous that those people say exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
Like, it's irrelevant whether or not I'd be good for my community, would work hard, would look out for the interests of the people around me and see if I can't make everyone's world a little bit better where I can make a difference. But it's not worth it. It's not worth it. I'm not risking, I don't need, look at the shit you get. Look at the shit people say to you now.
Right.
You're one of the nicest people I've ever met as a human being. You just are.
Yeah.
And one of the smartest. And it's like, look at the vitriol and the hatred and the venom. The people that I call friends. My buddy Tim posted, Trump must die. Like,
it's crazy.
It's fucking madness.
It is. I have some younger family members that are in college, and I think anybody knows that I love my nieces and more than anything, and I would literally die for them. I'd go to jail for them. I would do anything for them. And I think some of them are struggling with the result today, and have posted some things that say that. And I texted one of them and I just said, if you ever want to get together and go out to lunch and I explain to you why I voted for Donald Trump, I would do that anytime. I said, but I want you to know that I love you with all of my heart. And I would hate for your wacky aunt that voted for Trump, that we become estranged one day because of that. Like, I don't want that in any way, shape, or form. Right. And let me explain to you why, when I was your age, niece, that I was very much pro-life pro-choice. I was very much pro-choice. And why my experiences as I've gotten older have changed that position. Like, let me tell you that, instead of you just assuming that I'm running out and voting for a rapist and this and that. Like, let me explain it to you, because I promise I'm not the boogeyman. And I just don't want them to be like, oh, she's the white trash aunt that votes for Trump and I can't ever see her. Like, I love them way too much for that. And I want them to understand that I don't just vote for him because I'm like this terrible person. Like, I genuinely have reasons. And, I said, you don't have to write me back. And I don't know that she will. She hasn't yet. But I said, I love you. I would do anything for you. I'm proud of you. But I don't know. I just want her to know that. And it makes me sad because I feel like our side has just been so demonized that it's like,
well, it's, I know there are people that have listened to this show that will never listen again. Mm-hmm. I know that there are people that probably hate listen now, who assume the worst of all of us, but I firmly believe with all my heart, and I think people have listened to me long enough to know that I come to people with the most honest I can. Mm-hmm. I can be silly, I can be an asshole, I can be a smart ass, but I mean what I say. I believe what I say, and I believe it with all my fucking heart that we dodged a real bullet yesterday. Yeah. And I hope people are open to, give that a go. I didn't riot when Joe Biden got into the White House. Amy didn't riot. You didn't hate your neighbors or threaten anybody or call to get anyone fucking canceled or removed from their job. None of us did that. We sat here and we played this out. And yesterday is a really tough day for some people, but I hope people believe me and Amy and Garrett when we say, like, no, man, I got no hate for anyone. And I'm really happy with here. I was honestly worried, like, I'm going to have to get out of here. I'm going to have to go either zip back to Michigan for a little bit or shoot over to California for a little while. Cause the warden is one of those, I don't know what I was walking into today. And we've been talking and laughing. And I think a lot of them were reserved in a way, like, this doesn't look good. This hasn't gone well the last few years. And while we vehemently fucking hate Donald Trump and everything he is as a rapist and Hitler, they kind of felt this coming. Mm-hmm. And
I think everybody kind of knew she wasn't a great candidate.
Yeah. And I had some honest conversations back and forth with, we're all having those with family members. The one Amy just talked about, I'm having them with my family members, and if you see it this way versus this way, I get it. Jay used to talk about, it's like we're watching two screens, but showing different movies, and understanding that, like, I do really believe that we dodged a bullet. I mean that with all sincerity. And I think, this could be a really interesting and cool 4 years, one that I can't think back to a time in our history. I'm no historian, but from my lifetime where there's a chance for some real cool shit. I think it's game changing with RFK, Elon Musk. That sync reference he made is not lost on me to what he did to Twitter, the change he made there when he posted that meme of him walking in with the kitchen sink to Twitter. And it altered everything radically. And, he didn't have to do that. Opened himself up to, he's thanking his ass that went his way, because he would be the next Trump in line. And, deranged people do deranged things. And I don't pray much, But I pray for RFK Jr., Elon Musk, and Trump these days.
Yeah.
Because they are walking a road right now that is, a lot of people aren't happy with.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Why don't we do a couple emails and we'll call it a day. Dude, this has been awesome having you here this week. And
Thanks
we'll
for
do
having
more
me.
too. Yeah, of course. Of course. MAGA Barbie.
Yes.
Hey, Mike, anyone check on Raj this morning?
Yeah, I heard he owes us some money, by the way.
Does he? Yeah.
Yeah, there's
can't
a bet.
remember. Did he bet?
FMJR was reminding us today.
What did FMJR say?
Oh, he just said Raj owes his money.
Yeah, I can't remember what Raj said at the time. Remember when he said our side was losing nationally? Shit, Raj owes Mike money. Yeah, I could use the money always.
Yeah, we all could.
Well, that didn't age well.
Yeah.
Can you please just make Amy your co-host? She's so fucking smart, so fucking level-headed, and it doesn't hurt that she's hot as hell, respectfully.
Thanks.
She absolutely kills it every time she's on. How is Trump up over 100,000 votes in Michigan with 98% reporting, but Slotkin is up 10K on Rogers? Please show me the voter that went to the polls, voted for Trump, but not for Rogers. Deanna Nessel should be jailed.
Yes. I do think, honestly, but for me providing my husband with a list of people he had to vote for, it's very possible he goes into that booth, fills in the Trump thing, and walks right out.
Yeah.
I think it's very possible that there's people that do that.
Sure.
And I think that explains probably the slimmest of slim margins that Slotkin won by.
Okay. Lastly, what happens in 4 years when Trump hasn't ended democracy, hasn't done anything involving Project 2025, and hasn't turned into Hitler? What messaging do they run with then? They don't dare try policy, do they? Mm-hmm. Hi, Woke Bay. With love, Connor. P.S. Libs are losing their minds, and the Lions are the best team in the league. This feels like Christmas.
Fuck yeah. That's awesome.
It's been pretty funny.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I know we're saying we don't have any hate for anyone in our heart. It's not hate that I have, but I am going to start fucking with them a little more. Like, hey.
Yeah. Hey,
just
man.
a reminder.
Yes. You will all be reminded in year 1, year 2, year 3, and year 4 that still have your rights, all that bullshit.
I actually had a funny moment. 2016 on November 6th, I put on Facebook, get fucked. And then I just reposted that today because Facebook reminded me. And I just said, and as I said, get fucked.
That's funny. No more freeloading. Hey, Miguel and Garrett, my freeloading is now over. I finally become a Patreon member. I figured that now was as good a time to finally join with the move and all. I know my past email was quite long, but I'd still like to be your MCU insider guy if still available. That being said, goodbye for now, Cliff. Thank you, Cliff. We'll do a member show tomorrow. And then we did one last week and my fire alarm was going off. I ended up ripping that thing off the fucking wall.
Yeah, it was a fun show.
So someone says, I got a couple messages about that. Good afternoon. I've been a member twice before. Would love to come back, but I can't get extra content on my iPad. What the F? Any suggestions would be appreciated. My phone runs out of battery, so I use my iPad. Thanks. Hope you and Cece are doing well. I'm still getting my free's worth. Karen. God, it's going to be tough to be a Karen these days, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah. I'm big fans of this, Karen. I don't know, Karen, but that's been put out there now. I'm sure AA Ron will hear this.
Yeah,
and
that's weird. I have the Patreon app on my iPad and it works fine.
Mine works all right. I also just copy the RSS feed into a different podcast app. Mine's just called Podcast Addict, but any of those, and it lets me auto download them as they come out.
Okay, well that's smart. I wouldn't go to that trouble, but
it's glad, not. No, the RSS feed is right up on the Patreon. You just copy paste it into your app. That's it.
Yes, that is true. Yeah, and then it just loads right in there.
Yeah, it works with iTunes and stuff. Everything.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, you okay? I just wanted to check in and make sure you're okay. I listened to the members only show, and it seemed as though there was a fire. Hope all's well. Hi, Woke Bay. It's Connor. Yeah. The thing was given an error message and it kept going off, which led to this one. I'm sending this to you and Garrett both. It's titled, "You Motherfuckers." So I was listening to the bonus episode as I am one of your favorite listeners. I put my headphones in and listened to you. You guys discuss Halloween and then get political. Awesome stuff. So it's late and I set my sleep timer for an hour and keep listening as I fall asleep until I spring to my feet, pause the show and start checking all my CO2 and smoke alarms because I swear I heard one of them go off, but nothing. So I lay back down and try to get back to sleep. I rewound the show a bit because I'm sure I missed something funny. I start to doze off, and there it is again. I spring to my feet, wake up my girlfriend. I wonder if she's hot. Never mind.
We need some pictures. That's for Mike, though.
Mind
pictures
you,
of you.
This is after midnight now, and I have her searching the kids' room as I am dismantling every alarm in the house. I'm finally convinced I got them all when I finally lay down and start listening again. Then fuck, there it is again. I am just trying not to go Office Space on every piece of electronics in my house until my girlfriend comes in at the maybe potentially hot one. We don't know yet. The jury's still out on that one. Yeah, thank you. My girlfriend comes in and says, "Babe, I think it's in your head. I have in one earbud and I heard it again and realized it is in my head." So good one on you guys. I hope you guys get a good laugh at my version of the salad story. Feel free to share.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. The famous salad.
I had that happen recently, Mike, and I was cooking and I set our fire alarm off, which was bullshit. It wasn't a fire, it was just smoke. But anyway, it went off and it just kept beeping and beeping. And finally I was like, Rocky, if you don't take that thing out of the fucking ceiling, I'm gonna kill somebody. Yeah, hammer literally death. Almost to the point where I almost called the fire department to be like, can you come reinstall this thing because it will not shut the fuck up. And my dog would go crazy every time it beeped. It was so annoying.
Do you have one of those like Wi-Fi ones, or do you have the just battery?
I think it's just battery.
Yeah. See, G got cute and was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna buy all these dope Wi-Fi connected. If there's a fire up in my room, you'll know downstairs." Like,
it's bad for me. I was hitting a vape walking out of my office one day, and it hit the trigger. It triggered the smoke alarm, sent my house into full-blown panic mode. There's alarms blaring, and then it calls the fire department. So now I'm on the phone with the fire department as I'm trying to disengage an alarm, and Marina's calling me because she gets the alert. It was a wild
I have a question about that. If you just have a regular old standard fire alarm that's battery operated and it's going off, does that call the fire department automatically?
No, I think it's just a warning to you.
It tells you get the fuck out.
Telling you to get the fuck out, right?
Yeah. I think that's the point of these new high fucking expensive Wi-Fi ones is they're connected and they can do stuff
they can call automatically.
Yeah,
and stuff.
like this one. It's like, how cool is this? It goes, there could be a fire. So it doesn't just beep; it talks to you, and it's like, I don't need that.
Too. Yeah,
the funniest part for me is I work in fire suppression. I have 3 extinguishers from here to the door.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I give them.
And yours calls the fire department?
Yes.
Ugh. Yeah.
That is funny.
Yeah, I'd get rid of it. All right, let's call it a day there. Amy, I'll let you off the hook for the rest of the week, unless you want to come do a member show with Garrett and I, but there's not nearly as many people. So
that's all right. What
you
time
can text me.
Same time?
Yeah, same time.
Okay.
If you want to do it, you're more than welcome. I'd love to have you. And do you want to mention, are you doing E's show at all? Are you guys still doing?
Yes.
When are you doing it next?
Actually, I think I'm recording with him tomorrow. He's just doing Patreon episodes for the time, I think, when he's off for the summer or for the winter before he goes back whenever he decides to do that. So
where's he going? Is he going back like?
Yeah, he's going to do Mackinac again. And I think he's going to work. Year round next year. So I think he's going to stay up there in the winter. Yeah. It's the so funny. Like, I mean, he is just like, he finished up his sophomore year in college and he's just like, it's so funny. Every single experience he has, I'm like, that was college for everybody else, bar crawls and, sitting out on the porch, drinking beers with his roommates. And, he felt more comfortable this time around because he knew people and, I'm like, that's how sophomore year goes. Like some friends this time around and, people recognize him on the island from, Mackinac Island's Got Talent. He,
awesome.
Finished in the top 3 for that with his comedy, which was
story?
Awesome. No, he did a completely clean set. Was Mackinac Island related for the most part, I think.
He's a special dude, man.
Yeah.
He's a special guy. He means so well. He's got the biggest heart of anyone I've ever met.
And he's got such a good relationship with his parents now, which is crazy.
Yeah. which is crazy. Because he'll never be able to tell stories like for real, like what he would tell me.
Yeah.
You know, like he was a different bird 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And like so angry, he'd come in and fuck, you know.
Yep.
It's, you know,
so
it's
different.
just, you know, I'm sure you know some stuff, but he means so well, but it's exactly that. The maturation of E, like his accountability, it's almost like he went from middle school to high school and now he's in college, and it's like,
he's
he's
just
40,
like 15
but
years behind, you know?
yeah,
15,
totally
20 years.
Like, it's funny to say, but it's true. It's exactly what it is with him mentally, physically, like all of it. Like, he's finally like popping out the other side and like kind
and
of
like he
being
wants
an
his
adult.
parents to like come visit him on the island. They came up and they saw his stand-up show. Like he actually did stand up in front of them, and you know, like his dad, he, you know, was repeating one of his jokes to like his buddies on the phone and stuff. You know, like it's just like it's just so different. It's it's cool.
It's great. It's good to see, and he's awesome. So, do you guys go? It's just Patreon right now. If you do something,
no, if you catch it live, you can catch it on Facebook. We do stream to Facebook, but then I think he takes it down and just loads it on Patreon. So tomorrow morning, I think we're going live.
Okay, well, heads up for that. If you're a fan, what is it called? VentureCast.
Big E's
VentureCast, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, Big E VentureCast. That's what it is.
Yeah,
I was thinking Big E's Comedy
people
Venture.
know.
Big E VentureCast. Yes,
there you go. Follow MAGA Barbie at MAGA Barbie on Twitter. Amy, I will. I'll text you later, and we'll see if we can work it out for tomorrow. And
sounds good.
And Garrett,
thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, of course. And I will see you tomorrow for sure, Garrett.
Yep.
Have a great rest of the day, everybody. Keep calm. We're all good.